wouldn't make sense because your generation, the 60-plus-year-olds, would have taught our parents, would have taught us, so all the values should have gone down, unless you guys were just terrible parents, in which case it's kind of your fault, 60-plus-year-olds. I mean, if you were terrible parents and you didn't teach us what you wanted to teach us, well, kind of your fault, man.
Those issues are predominantly the fake issue of global warming. No matter what evidence you present them, their minds are made up. They're like zombies.
That was such a hypocritical statement. He just said the fake issue of global warming, and immediately said that whatever evidence you present them, their minds are made up, which would perfectly describe him. I mean, I think if you presented any evidence to him, he would immediately have his mind made up on it no matter what, and would immediately tell you you have no evidence or your evidence is fake. Which perfectly describes him as a hypocrite.
They're like the youth in other countries that worshipped a dictator. In this case, they worshipped the dictatorship of no thinking, the dictatorship of believing, not thinking.
But that was like your generation that worshipped the dictator, whatever, and worshipped the dictatorship of not thinking. Well, you need to think to survive. If we're going technically, yes, you need to think to survive. So they wouldn't be able to survive in any way, shape, or form, but they do. But you believe in nothing. You are a massive hypocrite. Like, right now, you're believing, you're not thinking in any way, shape, or form. You're not thinking that maybe a few people in this generation could not be whatever you just described them. Even though I'm pretty sure most of the people in this generation are not, or in the millennial generation. You just a hypocrite.
So the issues to them are what? What are their issues?
Watch this. Ready? I'm going to know exactly what he's going to say. He's going to say global warming and gay marriage, just as he did before, because he keeps repeating himself because he wants to beat it into his viewers' brains because his viewers are idiots. He wants to beat it into their brains that millennials are stupid. That's why he repeats everything over and over and over, because he has no other evidence.
Well, global warming, they want to save the planet. Who doesn't? And let's see, gay marriage, of course. If all gays were allowed to marriage, why the world would be a perfect place. So they say nothing when gays are thrown off the roofs in Iraq. They don't even know what's going on. They don't talk about it. They say nothing when young girls are raped by...
I'm pretty sure they say something. I'm 100% sure the LGBTQ community says something about that.
ISIS. But if anyone says anything about it, they say you're anti-Muslim or you're Islamophobic, because that's how these mindless children have been raised.
Now, there's a line between Islamophobia and saying something about that issue. If you were calling all Muslims racists, and if you're calling all Muslims terrorists, you are Islamophobic. But if you're calling the people who are in ISIS terrible people, you're not Islamophobic. That's a group of Islam that is radical. That is the radical group of Islam. But not all Islamic people are like that.
And so what's going to come next? You tell me what's going to become next is the issue. KWQW. Ron, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Also, I'd like to point out, he's got like a freaking, he's the most patriotic old man I've ever seen. He's got like a freaking America mouse pad. And like, I'm pretty sure the video that the channel that's posted on was 100% just the most patriotic thing you've ever seen. He's got like eagles everywhere. I don't even know. But whatever. Just pointing that out. Also, this picture looks like he's just looking at some millennials saying, I really need to find a reason to hate these kids. That's like what he's doing. He's just searching online for reasons to hate millennials. Yeah, that's why you hate millennials.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir, Dr. Savage. I think it's the hippie generation, which you have mentioned before, which is the cause for the millennial generation, because they are looking for excuses for themselves for being failures, and their failures have to be substituted.
What is the hippie generation? I thought hippies were a subclass of inside a generation. Like, they're not an entire generation themselves.
By the kids who are brought up by them. So therefore, they don't really want to admit failure because of their kids being failures, because it makes them look failures.
Have you ever seen the mobs?
Come on, man. You just cut off your own fan. I mean, you cut off somebody who doesn't like you and he's trying to counter-argue against you. I guess that's just because you're a jerk. But really, you cut off your own fan. Your own, like, watching person, somebody who's watching you and agrees with you, you just cut them off. What a jerk.
In the streets of Ferguson or Baltimore, in addition to the black thugs, did you see who was marching and pushing behind them? It was the millennials. Now, the same millennials who are now deriding themselves, deriding the fact that there are no longer police to protect them, they're the ones who drove the police out of these cities. Do they have any idea that there are consequences to their behavior? No,
Okay,
because there's never been a consequence
hippies,
to any of their behavior. They were indulged by
you're
the
saying
hippie
an entire
parents.
generation's parents are hippies, and you're saying an entire
Yes, sir, that's
generation
exactly
is hippies.
right, and it's because
That
of the way
doesn't
they were brought
work
up. And
at all.
if they,
I'm pretty sure there's been a consequence to millennial behavior. I mean, honestly, just everything in life is a consequence to it. Like, I'm pretty sure millennials learned at a young age, you jump off the frickin' swing set, you're gonna get your frickin' knees broken. That's a consequence. So yes, they know what consequences are. It's a pretty simple human concept. I feel like this guy who's talking is a millennial, and he's trying to suck up to this guy because he doesn't want to be called out, and he believes what this guy believes, and he just wants to suck up as bad as he can. I mean, he sounds like he's pretty young.
they don't have to respond or have excuses or prove themselves to their parents, how are they going to do it in public to police forces or the public in general? It's impossible.
So they've been raised by the ACLU, by the radical left, to hate police, to love immigrants, to hate Christians, to despise religion, to assume that anyone who's religious is a bigot. Is that not the mentality of the millennial?
That's exactly right. And
First off, radical left. Second off, he's saying the entire school system is raised by the radical left, or the entire school system is run by the radical left, which is bullcrap. Most teachers force their opinion on you, like they try to push their opinion on you. So if you have like more right teachers, they're gonna push their opinion on you. Like I had like different science teachers, and some of them said global warming was completely on humans. They even made us watch a documentary on how global warming was like human things, and it was all our fault. Then the other science teacher said global warming wasn't human things, and said that it was like, you know, it was just the environment doing a cycle. So see, they have different opinions. It's not just the far left. Hating Christians. I don't think that's a thing, considering Christians is like a huge majority, like a huge, not majority, but like a huge religion in, I don't know if it's the majority, huge religion in America. So you're saying that the entire generation hates their own religion. Well, not the entire generation is Christian, but like all the Christian people in the generation hate themselves? I don't know, that just doesn't work. You say they despise religion, but they also claim Islamophobia on anybody, so they would have to be Islamophobic to despise religion, and that would be in a millennial guidebook not right.
as much as I don't want to defend them, they were kind of indoctrinated because of
they had, yes.
That's not a defense. That's not a defense at all. And that guy just made it sound like he was defending Hitler. He's like, as much as I don't want to defend that, as much as I don't want to defend Hitler, but I mean, he had some valid points. That's exactly what he sounded like.
Yes, they have been indoctrinated. They are the Khmer Rouge of our time. They are the soulless monsters who are definitely not on the side of the good guys. They're on no side whatsoever. They don't know what to think.
Okay, so you called this generation soulless about 5 times. You called them monsters, zombies, freaking robots. What's next? You're gonna call them Hitler? I'm waiting for it. Why do you get to decide who the good guys and the bad guys are? I mean, I think it's more blurred than that. You can't just say the left is the good guys or the right is the good guys. It doesn't work like that. I think they know what to think, and I think they know that you're stupid.
Correct, sir, and they won't know what to think in the future either, as long as they're being, pretty much facilitated by the liberal media, which endorses and indoctrinates them even further. Any channel.
This is such a conspiracy theory. It's crazy. Like, this is like one of those conspiracy theories that goes up with like reptilian Obama or like Hitler's still alive. This is crazy.
Right. As long as they have sunglasses and a yoga mat, they think the world is a perfect place.
I'm not a millennial, so I can't speak for all millennials, but me personally, sunglasses are stupid. Yoga mats are also stupid. I don't think a lot of millennials actually use both of those or any of those. They might. I don't know. I think it's just generalizing all millennials like always, and I don't know. I definitely know the world's not a perfect place. It's terrible, especially with people like this guy and other people like ISIS. Yes, I just compared this guy to ISIS. Deal with it.
Exactly right, among other things, which includes drugs and homosexuality behavior, such as his gender character, and everything that's supposed to be acceptable and appreciated and approved, when it's really not. But the liberal media imposes that it should. Therefore, we all...
Okay, homosexuality is not wrong. I mean, it's not bad. It's not wrong. Okay, it's fine if you're gay. It doesn't matter. But the drugs thing, they're saying that the millennials are brainwashed by the leftist media school, which makes no sense at all. But I'm in school, and I can tell you personally, they do not promote drugs. They scare the crap out of you with drugs. They show you many films. They spend entire, months upon months telling you very specifically, don't do drugs, don't do alcohol, don't smoke, don't do any of these things, don't text and drive, don't drink and drive, just drive safe. And they spend months on these things. They don't want you to do drugs. That is not okay. Even things like weed that are being legalized, they still crack down on that stuff. They say no, 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 no.
I'll have to accept it because they have the majority of the listeners, if you will.
I don't know about this. I don't even think the left is the majority. Is the left majority? I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the election or whatever.
Well, that's how a man like Obama gets away with lying, because if you say anything about his lies, they call you a racist. They have been indoctrinated to believe that anyone who criticizes a person of color is by definition a bigot. Even if you're right, you're wrong. This is the problem we're having right now.
No, it's when you are a racist, you are a bigot. When you are saying things because they are a certain race, that makes you a bigot. Not if you're bringing up valid points against somebody with a different race, that does not make you a racist.
I think that I have focused on this for one reason, is that one of the reasons we're having so much trouble in America is because we have an entire generation of mindless, soulless robots who have no idea about the bigger world. It's only the yoga mat.
He said soulless again, he said mindless again, he said robots again. Just take that, just listen. He's literally pounding these viewers over the head with the idea that freaking millennials are the worst things to ever exist. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to compare him to Hitler. I was going to compare him to this other guy that I forgot his name, but I'm going to compare him to Hitler. Because Hitler kept beating people over the head with the fact that Jews are terrible, even though Jews are not terrible. Same thing here. I mean, listen to it. It sounds like a hate speech. If you switched every single word he said with, Jews, I mean, it would sound an awful lot like a Hitler speech. All he has to end it with is, all the millennials have to die. And that would be a Hitler speech.
It's only what they're putting in their mouth and their yoga mat that matters. Thank you for the call, but hold it. Let me send you a gift called Countdown to Mecca, a book that no millennial would ever be seen with.
I kind of want to read this book just to, give this guy a little middle finger, but I feel like it's going to be some kind of propaganda or something terrible. I kind of don't want to read it. When he said no millennial will ever be caught with this, it kind of reminds me of the fact that you wouldn't really see anybody walking around with Mein Kampf. I don't know how to pronounce that, Mein Kampf in their arm. That would be a little bit weird.
They're bullies everywhere, on the low level, on the high level.
You just said they're bullies everywhere when you spent this entire, 18-minute video bullying millennials. An entire generation of people younger than you're bullying.
We're living in a new age. Yesterday I talked about the millennials. Boy, did I get heat for that.
You don't say.
To the yuppies. The yuppies gave birth to the millennials. They're the end line of the beatnik. And the millennials are without conscience.
I don't know what the beatniks were, but whatever. But the worst generation is saying something, because, there were a few generations that would be pretty bad if you think about it. Let's go back 100 or 200 years when slavery was still around. I'd say that generation would be pretty bad to have their morals and their ideals. Or even farther back. Let's go back to when people just killed each other for no reason. That'd be pretty bad. Any of those would be pretty terrible. Did you say a yuppie? What is a yuppie? And I thought you said hippies gave birth to the millennials, not hippies gave birth to the yuppies, yuppies gave birth to the millennials. You said hippies gave birth to the millennials directly. Because the other guy was saying the hippies were the parents of the millennials. But, no, you just freaking said that it was, okay.
Like the Khmer Rouge of China, or of...
This guy's got a weird obsession with China. Like, I don't know what's up. I mean, I like China. China's a cool thing to study because history in China is pretty cool. But he's got like a thing with comparing millennials to something in China. I don't know if he thinks America is China right now, but I don't think so.
More specifically, like Cambodia. I don't mean they're actually going to throw you into a grave. I don't mean they're going to kill you. But they're like the Khmer Rouge. They seem to have no conscience.
Okay, and I was comparing to Cambodia, but how can you say millennials have no conscience? Like, if I saw an entire generation, or not even an entire one, let's not even generalize. Let's just say the majority has no conscience. I would expect that entire majority to go out being murdering people. Because they have no conscience. They can't tell what's right or wrong. They should be murdering, stealing, pillaging, everything wrong. They should be doing it if they have no conscience. They obviously have some sliver of a conscience in there.
They seem to be zombie-like.
Zombie again.
No care, no feelings. They have no emotions. They seem to have no emotions other than getting what they want.
You just said earlier the millennials, aka the sensitive generation, but now you're saying they don't have any emotion. Okay. Also, you said that they literally didn't use their brain, but they used their like feelings, which would mean again that they have emotion.
From the me generation to the I generation. Seems that the I generation, the iPhone came along about the same time.
Says the guy using like the high technology after the iPhone to freaking use this hate speech and whatever.
So I'm not very optimistic that this generation is going to save the country, incidentally, going back to that question. I think they'd roll over to anyone who raises their voice to them. They've been raised by bullies in the schools. They're intimidated by everybody and everything. And they have no feelings whatsoever.
They've been raised by bullies in the schools, but the bullies would also be millennials. Okay, whatever. And second thing, roll over to whoever disses them. I mean, I'm not a millennial, but I'm not going to roll over. I'm going to give you a big you. I'm not intimidated by you, old man. I mean, yeah, screw you. I have some feelings. Got some feelings of hatred at you.
For senior citizens in particular. So if you think that Obamacare is going to come along and save you, and the millennial has a choice between pulling your plug or keeping you alive, get back to me on that one.
No. When I said that back there, I have a hatred for you, not senior citizens. Senior citizens are okay. You specifically. Also, I don't think it would kill you. I mean, it might, depending on your situation, but I don't think it's a literal pulling of the plug that it wouldn't kill you.
Susan, WJR, welcome. You're one of the few women who listen to the show.
One of the few women who listen to this show. There's probably a reason. I'm going to guess that there's a reason.
Of the millions of listeners I have 24 Savagettes, and you're one of them. Thanks for calling.
He's got millions of listeners, and 24 of those are females.